Welcome to another Stuck in the Middle in collab with Palm Wine Central podcast episode. This is a book club review where we dive into powerful stories, deep emotions, and captivating journeys. I'm your host, Uncle AK. And today we'll explore True Gretch, a memoir that takes readers into a suspenseful and emotional rich ride through life of the Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Joining me is my beautiful ladies here, my panelists, starting with Mane. How you doing?
I'm good. Excited. This book was the nicest, shortest, sweetest book I have ever read.
Nice. Nora, how do you
I'm
do?
good. Yeah, the book was great. I liked it.
You look like you're ready to jump in and out of it.
I just finished it a couple hours ago, so not even hours, like a little bit ago.
Oh, yeah, it was a pretty fair read, like easy. So
I actually listened to it twice.
me too. While I was working.
I
Overachiever.
finished it the second time today because talking about her voice, it was, like I said, it was straight to the point. It wasn't like spinning around the bush. And you know, some books are like that Boundaries book, I felt like it was just spinning around the point for 10 hours. But this book was like tunnel vision.
Okay, we'll get into it. Nelly, how you doing?
I'm good. Enjoyed the read. Very short and direct.
Glad everybody enjoyed this one. T.
Yeah.
What did you do?
What it do? That's it.
What it do, baby? You say what?
I said that's it. What it do? That's it.
Mm-hmm. Let me save my words for the cocoa of the matter. The book was not a lot, so if I start talking now, I don't have anything left. I'm just playing.
Oh, Barbara, what do you do?
Happy Hum Day, guys. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, we're here.
All right. Well, I'm excited about the book. I actually finished it a couple of hours ago as well. I finished it today, so it's a good read.
Yeah, so. Well, guys, as you can all hear, they're eager to break down, the key themes and the pivotal moments, of this thrilling narrative. Well, without further ado, man, let's get into it. I want to start like this. We all know it's a short read, yeah. Mine says it's straight to the point, something about her voice, but I mean, for me, there was a lot of different spins in it, right? Especially hearing she started this political journey at 26, right? For me, when I look at like politicians, I'm like, when did it start? How did it start? Things like that. So this book kind of gave me like a background to that a little bit. I don't know about you guys, but Nelly, we'll start with you. How did you feel about the book? And then Nora can take that after that.
I felt like the book had really centralized themes of like resilience and perseverance. And I liked the way she displayed those themes starting from her mom, her dad, her grandma. It was all kind of connected. Like you could see the kind of person that she was raised up to be based on those characters in the book. And like their family values and how all of that played into her political career and also her personal life.
Yeah, I think I like the fact that, like I said, it's very interesting other than like political or celebrity politicians. It was nice to see her and to just see what was going on in real life and how maybe actual politicians take care of like real life situations. So obviously she was in the heat of COVID and different things were going on in her state. So it was just nice to see politics through like a normal politician's view in very key moments of like what's going on in life. So I like that aspect of the book.
Well, not to go too far into the book, but just surface, just touch, the surface real quick, T. Well, at 26, when she graduated, she spoke about how, she was not so bright at school, if I'm not mistaken. And then she went to law school where she finally started getting, her bearings and then graduating and becoming, getting to law. So for you, how do you think this story ties into, I want to say, the American dream, like we all think? And then on that part, and then on the part of, politics, did it give you a different perspective? Not just in general, but from, as a woman, did it give you a different perspective?
I think I'll consider her journey a typical American dream, right? I think I speak for everyone when I say that it's a classic
story of success. You apply yourself, you work hard, then things work out for you, right? It's kind of ideal. I did not, unlike a lot of memoirs, you see a lot of struggles, a lot of backstories about. There was none of that. She had a nice little life, not little, but she has a nice life, good family, was raised well. And you can see even through her describing like her political journey, I think you can see a lot of her family values and how she was raised that helped her navigate, her career. Humor is a big part of it, which I found really interesting how much humor saved her in a lot of situations, even if it's just for her to be regulated. From the aspect of a woman, I think it was just sad a little bit to me to see that even a woman who has proven herself at that level still has to keep on proving herself to a bunch of men. It's something that I think women in the workplace face a lot all the time. So it's like, oh, wow, she could be governor and people still would look at her like she's incompetent when she has a huge track record behind me. And so to me, that was like, wow, okay, I guess it never ends, especially not in politics. But I mean, it is what it is, I suppose, at this point. It didn't give me much hope, but it was interesting to see a person behind maybe a political party or a position in government.
The book takes place in Michigan, of course, because it's written by the Michigan governor. Manya, can you speak a little bit about the theme of it? Did you expect, like when you read the book the first and second time, did you expect it to be what it is? The way it was written, the storyline, some of the things that were uncovered, and also too, she was governor during a very strange time for most, and then for some good time, was when Trump was in power. So we're gonna get into that. Pretty interesting a moment. But just to support T's point on leadership and resilience, could you speak a little bit about the theme of it? Being that it was Michigan, to what that.
Adding to what T said, I did not, because I've read quite a lot of memoirs, but I don't know if it's because I'm looking up because I have my memoirs up there. I don't know if it's a race thing because I've mostly read the Black men and women's memoirs, and there was a lot of like darkness, like the struggle to get to where they got to where they are. So first, this one was short and straight to the point. Most of the memoirs I read are like 17 hours. Well, listen, because I've had memoirs where I've read the actual book and then listened to the audio, and they're like 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 hours. This one was just like 3 hours, and I was done in 2 days. I think that the way she was raised and humor helped her a lot in handling the stresses that she faced, because especially the part where she was on lockdown in her house and she had to look through the window and she made fun out of that. That wasn't funny to me. Like the fact that she was trying to save the state and people were trying to kill her and she found a way to make that funny. That and many other instances, I think that helped her a lot to handle all the things that she had to go through. We're not this. Did I answer the question?
Yeah, for sure. Let's switch gears a little bit. You mentioned something about, emotions there. So, Barbara, which relationships in the book, whether family, colleagues, or constituents, help shape emotional growth?
Help shape her emotional growth? I think every one of them that she met said did help her in some way because she learned from every experience. When we began the book, it started with her talking about her mother and how resilient and happy, even though she was going through chemo, the strength that her mother had was an inspiration to her. I think she talked about her grandma. I don't remember the first grandma's name.
Gretch. Grandma Gretch.
Nino.
Yes. She just liked how straight they were from her family because of, as Mannequin alluded to earlier, the humor that they had. They make light of almost everything. That's literally how she made it through her career, her political career, and in every altercation that she had. Especially, I enjoyed the fact that every time somebody made a joke with her. I cannot remember the Senate leader's name, that they were very close, and he spoke very poorly of her, and she made a cake out of it during his 65th birthday to squash it. So she had to make a joke out of it. So she literally, every relationship that she had, being family, colleagues, even her constituents, like I think the example, the different instances in the book, the lady with the pothole and the kid that was in the hospital, she used that as a campaign.
Slogan.
Yes, slogan. Oh, slogan. I'm sorry, not Logan, slogan. So I just appreciated the fact that she took every little aspect in her life and she learned something from it individually. So like every relationship did help her grow emotionally, if anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. A statement she mentioned, listen to understand. She got it from the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And that's the one. I read that book in 2015, and to this day, that particular line still stands out.
You listen to understand. I think there was another phrase that she said when she got into an argument with that senior leader, was focused on being effective than winning an argument.
Yeah.
That she lives by it as well. So the little things that she says, I'm like, that's actually applicable. And I did use one of them recently. So the pause, but
even how she ended the book, the person in the arena, that one too is a title of
that is one of my favorite quotes.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's not the critic that counts. And I kind of carry that around, because when somebody's criticizing you, the impact differs based on who it is. It's like you can't criticize something you don't understand. You're just criticizing just to criticize. I said, okay, you're entitled to your opinion, fine. But if you're criticizing to help me be better because you've been there, okay, that's different. So it's not really the critic that counts, it's the person who's in the arena. I love that.
It's true. This is true. Therese, how do you feel about the pace of her emotional development? A lot happened, from the kidnap to her revealing the rape, in that Senate, no, sorry, yeah, something floor, I forget, the house floor, the house floor, all of that. Like, how do you, the pace of, her emotional development, do you think that it was so much for her to handle, or it was enough? I don't even know if you could quantify that, but did you feel that?
I mean, I think everybody in her position would have found everything she dealt with a lot, right? From the president throwing jabs at her to people in her state, and then she had to deal with COVID, and then the attack on her family, and I think it's a lot for anybody to deal with. Her emotional development, I would think that she was well equipped, in my opinion, just based off of how she handled it and everything she wrote in the book. I think that emotionally she was prepared for that journey. And of course, it's not without reason, right? At times, even in the narration, you could tell the anger in her voice, especially when they indicted only, was it 10 or 14 people that were in the plot against kidnapping and killing her were released, even with so much evidence. You could tell in the emotions. I listened to the audio, so you can tell that, from her voice. But I think she was emotionally equipped. Otherwise, if she wasn't, I feel like everything in that book would have been different than what we saw.
I think that there was a story she mentioned when growing up, where she walked her younger sister. I think as a first child, she kind of had to grow up faster.
Yeah, she's the firstborn, right? She said that. So that alone will do that to you.
There was that story of walking her sister to school, and one day she couldn't walk her. Yeah, I feel like that was the beginning of her emotional growth. So she had to grow up earlier, and that kind of helped her out, because I feel like she said she went through the 5 biggest challenges that anyone can go through in 2 years, which was getting married, moving, losing a loved one,
having a baby.
And then there was one more.
And a new job, promotion.
Yeah.
Promotion, yes.
So she had all 5 of that in 2 years, and it didn't seem like she cracked. So, say what, bend, but don't break.
Let's talk about the women's rights, that she spoke on, or she wanted to get the people to vote for. I mean, it was kind of, reading that part was kind of interesting, sadly, because I'm like, how do you put insurance on rape? Like, how do you predetermine that? Like, it made no sense. And then how having to still again reveal to them that, oh, this happened to me, and they vote. Everybody still voted otherwise. You know what I mean? So how did you guys feel about that part of the book?
So the funny thing about it, right? You see that both the women's right and with the deaf politics project 2025, that is coming back. It's in there. That's what a lot of people don't realize. Exactly what she was trying to get them to vote against. It's been in a little fine line in that, and it's very ridiculous because, as I do agree with you, okay, that's not something you can plan for. You have to have insurance. You have to buy insurance in case you get raped to use it, because your regular insurance is not going to cover you for it. Like how does one mentally, physically, everything? How do you prepare for that? And a lot of people don't even have the money to do. And then
you can't even afford regular insurance.
Yes. And the craziest thing was just that when she said that, that is exactly what is happening right now. It's about to happen again, which I don't understand how our lawmakers will attempt to vote that into law and make it legal or illegal for you to do anything, and your insurance cannot cover you if you get that whole part irritated me, if anything. It's just, I was boiling when I read it. So, but it's kind of interesting. That's something that happened back. It's slowly making its way back into our society and our everyday today. And I'm just curious to see how that's going to play out, if anything, down the road. So,
yeah, I wanted to tussle. I wanted to fight somebody because it's crazy. It's crazy how they put money over women's rights, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's all about the coins for them. Especially when that one, I don't know if he was a senator or a floor member or whatever he was, walked up to her and said, yeah, my wife, I sympathize with you having to go through sexual assault. My wife was sexually assaulted in college, and he has daughters, and he still voted.
Against.
He still voted for the bill.
I was driving when I heard that part. I slammed on my brakes. I was like, hold up, pause, rewind 30 seconds. Say that again.
Right. It's like, ain't no, exactly. Like it just shows you that sometimes sometimes politics is not a game of for the people, right? It's a game of numbers. Unfortunately, I think in a capitalist society, if it ain't about the numbers, nobody is really checking for it like that. And it's just sad that, okay, something would only favor the people if the numbers back it up. I want to fight.
Nora, what do you think?
I was like, nah.
It was just an interesting time. It was an interesting portion of the read because I think the moral of her story is just the fact that if something like that happens, you have to keep your eye on the prize to make sure that you come back to fix it. And it's up to us, at the end of the day, there's people out there who are working against women, but then there's whoever you want to vote for, Kamala or Trump, whatever, there is an avenue for us to get out of what they're trying to do. So if you say that you care about a subject and there's a way for you to try to fix it, then do that. And it took her 10 years, but she was able to come back and rewrite the wrong that they did. So that was what I really got out of it. The fact that, in that time, it was really hard for her. She put her heart on the sleeve. It didn't really work out other than her just telling a really important part of herself that nobody really seemed to care about.
Yeah.
But no matter how long it took, she was able to come back and fix it. So, yeah.
Nora, speak a little bit about, our supposed encounter with Trump. How did that make you feel?
I think that I think he made her popular. And I think if you have the opportunity to take something that Donald Trump has and work it in your favor, that'll always be good for you, because the man has a way with words. So if you can use it to help your campaign, to help whatever, then in her case, it actually worked for her, you know. And in another portion of the story, I think she may have said something that got people offended, or wore something that got people offended. But then she just related it to him, right? About the fact that this man can go on public TV and talk about grabbing women here, but this thing that I've done or said, you know, people are so offended by. So it's always just the fact that he's just over the top, and he's a lot, but you can also use him to your advantage if you figure out a way, you know, to be able to do that. Yeah.
I was just going to add to what Nara said about her taking it and using it to her advantage. You know, she kind of embodied that woman from Michigan. You know, she took it and she ran with it and made it kind of like her personality. I mean, and she had the character to go with it. You know, she was very audacious. I think, and he gave her the platform. So if anything, it brought her positive publicity, because then now everyone was checking for her. Like, who is that woman from Michigan, you know? So I think she used it to her advantage.
So you look like you have a supporting argument. So go ahead.
Oh no, I was just agreeing that yeah, she did. I was just saying to myself, she's a bigger woman than I am, because
Oh
I don't know,
yeah.
I don't know if I'll be able to do that every time something happened. She took it and she dressed it up in humor and presented it in another way. She's just a bigger person.
I think she used the phrase, you either run to the fire or away from the fire. She was always running to the fire. I'm like, wow, you are definitely a great person. I think a point she made was about not burning your bridges. And I was just going through the situation. I was like, burn the whole bridge. But I think she was talking about her husband, or her ex-husband, who turns out to be her something photographer.
Yeah.
And then they take it off. I'm just like, wow, yes. I just like, okay, learn a lesson in grace. I want to believe that I'm very graceful, but sometimes, people can block your nerves. That's why I had to listen to the book twice, because I was like, okay, I need to hear. And so for some reason, her voice to me, because I was listening in the car, I wasn't listening on my phone. Her voice to me sounded like it was soothing, it was therapeutic. So I was like, okay, she has lived through this. She is the person in the arena, and this is how she handled it. And I think one of her chapters was, you will never regret being kind. So, okay, I'll try that. I mean, not that I am not kind, but I'm not the whole, oh, you did this to me, but I will hold hands and dance kumbaya. I'm like, nah, I need to cool down.
Girl, in that moment, we're burning that damn bridge, okay?
I was like, burn the whole bridge.
Burn the whole burn it down.
I'm working. No, I'm not burning the bridge. I'm just not, trying to extend my hand over the bridge. Let me go cool down. Someday we'll pick it up from where we left off. But right now.
But she said something very important in this place of her burning the bridge, which is her dad taught her 24-hour rule, which is something I think it's like even without her saying it, everybody knows that you never make decisions when you're angry. You take a step and you come back, and then what was it that he said? That you wait, and then if you're still
feeling the same way,
have the same feelings,
you come back 24 hours. I'm like, that's actually quite good advice, because you pause.
Yeah, and that's what I do. I'm like, let me walk away. I'm not extending my hand over the bridge. I'm like, I'll see you in 72 hours. I mean, I could say hello, hi, but if you got to address this issue, you might as well just burn the bridge. But try not to burn the bridge. So let me go pull off.
And it worked perfect for her, which is something that can be applicable to your day-to-day leadership, like examples. It works. Like, you walk away from it. It may have hurt your pride in every angle, but come back in 24 hours and you address the situation, and the results are always better. And it worked for her with her relationships, because the way that senior leader spoke about her, and the fact that she handled it so graciously, she said, because she had to lead the people, and so it doesn't matter what her personal grievances with towards the man, he had to fix it, because if not, it would have burned to the ground, and she did not want that. So she said, all right, let's come back in 24 hours and fix it, and it worked for her. So that's actually a good lesson.
Does that lesson tie in only in the professional environment, or does that tie in like in general, professional and personal?
A lot in professional. In professional.
It's very hard for personal life because who has 24 hours?
No, personal is different. Gretch was talking in 24 hours. She was talking professional. You know, say she applied to her personal life.
I'm applying more personal than professional, because professional, I don't have to deal with you for the rest of my life. Personal,
I mean, also with one of her friends, it took her like 8 years to reconcile with her friend. So
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that's me. I'm like, if I have to address this now, we might as well just burn the bridge. But if we wait 1 day, 2 days, 7 years, it would be okay. We will not have to. Yeah, that's why.
From 2 days to 7 years. So much.
Yeah,
it works like professional. I think it works because I actually put it into practice. That's the thing. It like I had to, and this was my director. I said, he said, I said, no, we'll have a meeting tomorrow because I said it to you. The thing was, I said, if I say what I have to say, I'll be fired.
Yeah.
Here's how I look at it, right? I get paid to manage my emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not getting paid. Okay. Anyways, I just leave that one to God.
What I say is, I'd rather lose my job than lose my license. So let me go home and I'll be back tomorrow.
Yes.
That's
and
what
it was a more.
But then you can do that with work. That's why I say for me, it's easy to do that 24-hour thing at work. In real life.
So what would be the better solution for real life if you were to translate that into your personal life? Like what will make
That's why I say I do the 24 hours or the 7 years. If in 24 hours I feel like not 7 years per se, but however long it takes for me.
No, you meant that 7 years. You did, girl. You did.
However long it takes for me to manage my emotion to the point where I can have a conversation without sounding rude or like I don't want to have to go there. Like the whole because I feel like I have the tendency to hit where it hurts. And I don't want to go there.
Yeah.
So if after 24 hours I feel like I can have a hello high conversation back to address that particular, and I'm saying this because something happened. What's today? Wednesday. Something happened yesterday. That's why I had to be listening to that book again.
So the person has 6 more years before you come back.
I mean, there have been situations where it's taken longer than hours because I felt like it would be better to, if they want to address it then and there, I'll be like, okay, I'm not in the mental state to civil the word, to calmly address this thing, because clearly I'm not in the wrong. Not that I'm being proud of anything, but I know that I'm not in the wrong. And right now I cannot address it in a calm way. But if you feel like you must actually talk about it now, I'll just listen. I'm not going to say anything about it. I'm going to listen. Then when I feel like I can share my partner, we'll do it. That's why I say it could be anywhere from 24 hours to 7 years.
What happens when it's like a partner? Like, let's say your spouse, right? And
so that's why I said the 24-hour part is hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just going to be what's going to be. Like, I would say that I am not in a mental state to have a calm conversation. Now, if they cannot wait for the 24 hours, I'm like, if you absolutely have to talk about it now, I'm going to listen. But I'm going to try to choose my words because, like I said,
am I the only one seeing the 7 years like hanging in Manny's forehead right now?
I'm just saying that it's possible. It can't be 7 years. I can leave the bridge alone because, like I said, I think I shared it in the last book, or the boundaries book. I said, if I cannot meet you where you are, I'm gonna leave you alone. It's safer. I'm gonna tell you that this is what happens. This is how I feel. But if we have to address, like, conflict resolution is not my strength because, especially if I feel like you could have done it differently or you could have handled it differently, but it feels like you chose to do it this way. I need time to process, to have a different perspective. Let me put it like that, so that I don't say things that I cannot take back. So I'm gonna listen. I may not, speak back or share back.
Gretch did show us something though. I liked her leadership, the way she handled a lot of conflict resolution at work. So I think it's something that I personally, it's something that I could learn from and just extrapolate some of the things that she did, because it actually does work and it worked for her. It excelled with the things that she did. It gave her the result she was looking for, which is how pointed at the end of the book, she said the reasons that she did that was for XYZ, and it worked. And so it's
I've
not
definitely listened to the book multiple times because
not a bad strategy to use. So
I'm trying to learn how to do conflict resolutions without feeling like I have to make you feel the way you make me feel. Because sometimes maybe getting a taste of your own medicine will make you understand that this thing wasn't. But yeah, I'm a work in progress. So if I can't meet you where you are, I leave you alone.
I have a question for you though, AK.
One second,
Okay.
real quick. Nelly, today I have a question about couples, right? I feel as though, it's okay to, have a little bit of problems or strife, I guess. But please, when it comes down to the essential things, like life, you have your basic necessities. You know what I mean? For example, things like sex, for example, there's no problem.
I was gonna say.
There is absolutely no type of problem on earth that should stop supply of that. You know what I mean? Demand all you want. But when the supply is time to supply and demand, we should shift those things aside, you know what I mean? And then handle business. And then after that, if you really feel like you want to really be mad, you can go back to it, no problem. You know what I'm saying?
I know about that, but each is own.
If we're gonna go into the supply and demand of how that works, there are lots of things that go into like supply for you to have the supply, right? Mm-hmm. You can't just demand if you've not put in.
I like that.
You know what I
mean? Right.
But
let's dream to that.
At the same time, too, you have to be able to shift some things aside, you know what I mean? And then we'll handle that business, and then we'll come back to it. We'll come back to it, no problem. I understand that. I understand there's problem at hand. No problem, I understand. No problem. But please, let's fix this. And then we'll fix this one, we'll come back to that one. Yes. But to the whole thing of bridges, man, I don't know what you guys are talking about, though. Because when I say a bridge, I see my head start thinking of how I can plan this how do you call it, C5s, C5s on the bridge side.
To blow it up.
Yeah, I want you to majestically and in a fine way just blow up like, and then I see it, and then I clap. I clap like, wow, look at this beautiful handwork I just did, and then walk away. So I don't know about that.
The guy is like, he's gonna burn it regardless.
If we two look, it's a very simple thing, right? If we two cannot sit down and really figure this out, I don't see what the point is. Let's burn the damn thing. Again, for me, I believe that just like that bridge that, broke in Baltimore, they're going to rebuild that thing. You know what I mean? They're going to rebuild it. I really believe that in life. I could burn one and we could rebuild it. But if you feel as though we cannot rebuild it, then fuck you too then. Shit. There are like so many, there's so many people on earth for me to be worried about one person. I see it.
See, that's that thing that be putting people in trouble. Talking about so many. How many of those people do you have access to? People should stop walking around talking about there are 7 billion people on this earth. How many people do you have access to? Very limited. So no, unfortunately, although everybody is what they call it. Nobody is indispensable, but you can't just go out there and have another of that same person. So y'all cut that shit.
No, it's how you look at it, right? It's how you look at it. Like, for example, me, I don't put expectations on people for me to come and disappoint myself after that. So because of that, it's really hard for me to look at someone and be like, oh yeah, I need you there. No, I don't need you there because that seat can be replaced at any given time. All I need to do is to go outside of my house. Once I go outside of my house, I can form relationships that can help me in certain things that I need. But to make something like permanent just sitting there, nah, fam. I don't subscribe to that. But that's just me.
Okay.
Okay.
I guess fuck all of us then.
Oh, it's not. No, I mean, I'm just saying. Like, if we cannot reason some things out, there's really no need for me to be sitting there. Like money, I could walk away and give you 7 years too, but pleasure in that for me. There's no pleasure in that. There's no pleasure from that. I need to see the thing blow up, and I walk away like, oof. Yeah, that almost caught me on fire. But yeah, just saying. Anyways.
Toxic.
I'm like, you're toxic. Like toxic. It's like T forgot her question. She was
I did not forget. I'm just shaking my head like.
Next question.
I was gonna ask, right? I mean, she's your governor. I don't know. Is she still the governor or is she done? She did her 2 terms and that was it.
I don't know.
Let me search it.
I think
I'm asking.
I'm
asking. That's
I
his
thought she
state.
still was the governor.
Yeah, I think she's still the
still the
governor.
yes, the
She was
governor.
just
She's still the
reelected.
He said, "Let me Google." Oh Lord, have mercy.
You don't know the governor of your state.
I don't know.
I guess then you probably will not have the answer to my question. Let me just, because I was about to ask, right? Reading this and knowing her as a governor for that long, did you have any gaps? Did you see any correlation? What surprised you? But you didn't even know this woman was still governor. So, next question.
I read the book, right? The reason why I read the book the second time really is because I'm like, yo, where was I when all of this was happening? Because I was here. I know I was here in Michigan, but I don't from the dams, getting damaged to the whole Trump thing. Even the Trump thing, I did not even realize that her and Trump had like a fight. He was calling a lady for Michigan.
All the while he was in as president.
Yeah, all these things I did not know that. So I was just very far removed. But I didn't care about the kidnapping one though, because that was like headlines,
I think that it was interesting, getting like almost like a backstage access to like a politician's life. And I wish a lot more politicians wrote memoirs that were not just like the behind the scenes of the politics. Yeah. I didn't know that I'll be interested in those kind of reads, but I found it it was really neat. Yeah.
And they should take a clue on how to write it though. That's one thing. Because her book is a perfect blend of personal and politics. It didn't lean too heavily on the politics to lose you, but she actually put a person behind her office. So that was perfect. So politician, if you want to write book, follow that format.
Especially someone who stands behind policies that are not that favorable. I'll be really interested in seeing what their background is and how they come to value the things that they value. So, yeah.
When the Audible ended on my end, it provided recommendations based on your listen. I think the first one I came on was Nancy Pelosi's
that'll be another good one.
And I loved the way it started. Like it talked about what was her guiding, what did she call her guiding light? She leaned heavily on the Bible and the Catholic sense. I was like, wow, really? I think we should look into listening to or reading.
Yeah, I'll be down.
Talked a lot about a specific verse in Matthew that she has used to guide her throughout the years as a speaker. Yeah.
And you see, that's stuff that the general public will not really know. To us, you're just another political figure.
She doesn't appear to me like a religious or spiritual person, but the way she started off, because Audible will give you like a few minutes. All she talked about is her upbringing and how she was selected to be the Speaker of the House and how she's always been guided by the word. I think her catchphrase was the word, and the word was the Bible. So she started out by her spitting some Bible verses that she's used to. I said, okay. And the next one was Fauci, the doctor.
Oh, yeah. The COVID doctor.
The COVID doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think there were three recommendations, but by the third one, I was like, I don't want to get into that.
I need to go back and go find.
Yeah. Let's not turn it to some other book. But like real quick, how would you guys rate this book, Mane? Scale of 1 to 5.
In what aspect? I would say 5 for the fact that it was straight to the point. It didn't lose me. Like I could re-listen to it more than one time and feeling like not that I relearned something new, but something made more sense. So it's something that I can apply to my life, even though I'm not into politics. So for that reason, I'll give it a 5.
I think I'll give it a 4. Just because it was so well streamlined that I wanted more. I wanted her to show me more insight
More
into her
tea.
life. Yeah. So, but it was, I would recommend someone to read it. It's just because it's not the typical, like I said, it's not the typical, oh, mom died and we suffered, or dad left us and we suffered. Even the divorce, the way she described her parents' divorce, it was, I'm like, where's the trauma?
Exactly.
Well, she didn't give us the tea though.
Well,
she wasn't giving us the tea of.
She did not, but it doesn't look like there was a lot of trauma there. I could be wrong based on how she wrote. But I was like, they, at least in her adult life, there should have been some, I've seen a string of trauma, but there wasn't. And I was like, okay, I'm not about to make this woman's story look typical, but
yeah, even with her ex, she was so funny with her ex. I was like,
yeah, she didn't give us any tea from there. I think that she was not trying to portray the idea that for someone to be resilient, they have to struggle. They have to have the struggle. I think that's, so she was trying to stay away from that because her parents were divorced. She was divorced, but nowhere in there did she bring in any of the reasons or any of the things that she had to overcome by being divorced. She didn't use it, to allude to why she was so strong, why she's such a strong person. Yeah.
And maybe there really wasn't. We're typically always looking for these things, and maybe there wasn't. Some people do have amicable divorces, right?
Yeah.
She said they have a beautiful blended family. They goof around all the time. Even her sister popped up in the audio, and they did a few things. Her sister-in-law, she said she's an honorary half-wit.
Half-wit.
Yeah, she's an honor. So I think it just, I don't think there was too much to dig into in that aspect. So good for you, Mitch, for having a good life.
Yeah. I don't know. I was reading it and I was like, you are nearly, saying I was waiting for the tea. I was like, dude, why you keep talking about your mom, your sister, the men? Like, what's going on here?
That's a toxic brain.
See, our brains.
Like, I don't know why you guys divorced, but where's the other guy? So are you married now?
Right.
It's a dentist. I'm like, oh, this one is a dentist. Why this other one is taking photos?
This is not BET ladies book. There's no tea here.
Very different. You're right. Very different.
Night and day.
Yeah.
No tea.
Oh, speaking of reality, right? Imagine this, this book was turned into a reality TV show. What would be the most dramatic or the most entertaining part of it? Let's say you had
those people in her house trying to kidnap her. All those guys staking her house or whatever. Yeah, that'll probably be it.
A little bit. For real though. Like
the part where she was sitting on her in the ice. She made fun of that too. Where she was going somewhere, she had her car, it was snowing, and then she just sleep in the ice, and she just.
The high school. It was a high school reunion that she went, and they invited her. She went with the convoy, and she came out, and then she fell on her ice. And what did they call her? Something Gretch. That was her nickname.
Big Gretch.
I think Gravity
Gretch.
Or even as a kid, where she lost her front teeth, and then she was taking it out.
Yeah, that's a very human thing, Just. Yeah. Our governor has had a lot of dental work done.
Not surprised she ended up marrying a dentist because she needed that to save money.
Because dental fee is not cheap. Oh boy, irony of life.
Sorry, kind of there was something in the book that kind of struck me. In 1971, in Michigan, they were still having racial issues, and people were. I don't know. It took me. I had to rewind to make sure she did say 1971. Her grandfather was fighting between the blacks and the whites in Michigan. Is it Efron, Michigan? That he was a principal of a school there.
Superintendent. Yeah.
The segregation.
The segregation thing. And I think the year it was 1971, and I'm sitting here like, hold on now.
Wasn't that
long ago?
It still happens today.
It happens today, it's just not as obvious.
No, it's just things when they read it, it was just, I was like, that's not just that long ago. That's crazy.
Today. I remember one time actually, this is about 5 years ago, I believe. it was snowing, and I turned into the wrong neighborhood. Well, I turned into a neighborhood. It's not the wrong neighborhood. I turned into a neighborhood, right? But for me, I mean, I was like, yeah. Anyways, I was going up, and there was this older white, man sitting there, and he was rocking on a chair. And guess what was right here?
Gun.
Yeah, it was one of those shotguns, double barrel. And
Wow.
then my windows were not tinted, so and I was just leaving work in the morning. So as I was coming up, he's sitting there and he literally just pointed it at me and told me to back up. I'm like, yo, it's a turnaround. Let me just go. Nah, bro, back up. I said, Michigan 1, AK 0. Let's go. I just back up slowly. I disappeared. I said, hey, man, I'm not arguing this morning. I'm like, you know what I mean? So it still happens. It happens. So
It's wild in the streets.
Mm-hmm.
it is. What is one personal life hack from this book that you borrow to make your life easier? Nora.
I guess lead with humor like Gretch. Yeah, definitely. That's actually something that I would have to work on because I'm not like that funny. So you just try to find the funny side because yeah, that's about it. Because I just be looking at people with like, "Are you dumb?" Like something. It'd be something that I would try to do, and because it really works. So yeah.
See, that's that thing where if you stand in front of me and you're doing that, you'll be pissed because all I do is just be laughing at your facial reaction. Because I mean, anyways, what? Why do you think you're not funny though? I'm just curious. Why do you think you're not funny?
I don't think like if something happens, my first reaction is what's the funny thing? I think I do funny things, like I sing songs in a country accent. It makes my sister laugh, but it's not because I'm trying to be funny. It's just something that I do that I enjoy. But if something were to happen to me, like if somebody said something mean to me or something like that, my first reaction isn't let me find the humor in this to settle it down, like that's not my first reaction. Whereas for her, she's very intentional about let's pacify this with humor. Whereas she's gotten good at it. She has a good team that helps her with it. It kind of comes natural from her upbringing and her family. But me, I just do funny things, but like the funny is not my reaction to somebody's ignorance. So yeah.
Nelly.
Yeah. Oh, one life hack. I'll probably go with the forgiveness bit, learning to be open to forgiveness. And what was the other one? It was forgiveness and something that went together, or showing grace or something like that. I have the funny bit down because there's nothing that is not funny to me. But trying not to take offense so easily. Yeah, that's a life hack that I need to work on. Yeah, that the book showed. So,
Barbara.
Staying positive. I loved how positive this woman is. Besides the fact that she looks for the good in every bad situation that happened to her. She's like, well, yeah, this is fuck up. It's really bad. But let's look for the positive in it. And it always works out in her favor, right? I love her spirit. I guess that was something that like I enjoyed listening to her. Like she's like, this is messed up, but let me look for the positive in it and make it work. And I like that. And I think that's something that we all could apply in our personal lives. It makes life a lot easier, especially with dealing with difficult moments, especially her mom, when her mom was going through cancer and everything else. The things that she chose to remember were the positive things that she spent, like the time she spent with her mom in the hospital, even when they were going through like a crazy thing. There's the example she gave with her stepfather coming into the room and she and her mother were laughing hysterically and he couldn't figure out what's so funny about it. But it was it was a sad situation, but they looked for the positive in it and made it like a happy moment. So I think that was something that I'm like, you know what? Yeah, it might be bad, but if you just find the positive in it, it's just gonna make the situation a lot better. There are actually two things, and then the 24-hour rule, which I spoke about. Like I'm fiery a little bit. Like I can go from
0 to 1,000.
Yes, and I'll react. But a lot of the times I'm learning to pause. And her 24-hour rule actually worked because again, this was my boss. I used to work. He said something very, very slick, and it was not really intentional. He said it like in a speech, and everybody in the entire department was like taken aback. So I walked up to him, and I was just staring at him because we have a cool relationship. When I walked up to him, he said, "Why are you looking at me like that? Do you want to have a conversation?" I'm like, not really. So he kept asking me questions and having the same conversation. You could tell I was not comfortable having a conversation. Like, I really don't want to talk to you about it because if I say what I have to say, I'm going to get in a lot of trouble. So he stopped. He's like, I should give him a feedback about something. So I paused and I told him that I'll have to come back in 24 hours. I have a meeting with you tomorrow and we can have a discussion with you. He said, why? And I said, I say this with all the respect. If I say what I have to say with you right now, I'm going to get chopped. So... And then I laughed. I made it like a joke because it was very not comfortable. He said, I do understand that and that I should come back and we'll talk. And it worked. So it's something I'm learning. Do not react to things at the heat of the moment. Just walk away from it and come back. It makes the conversation a lot easier.
I use ChatGPT to write my grievances.
Wait.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I tell it, I literally give it, like, I don't tell the person directly how I'm feeling. I just go to ChatGPT and say, this is what I'm feeling, but can you make this sound professional? But, professional and casual, like at least 40% below, not 100, but 40. But also make it in such a way that they understand that, this is of importance. Yeah. So, and then let it write it. Because if I have to use my words, remember those bridges, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I could use Chat GPT, whatever they're calling. I'm yet to use it, but
I'm gonna have to start using that Chat GPT at work because man, some of these meetings. Working with that. Today. I need the spirit, the Holy Spirit. So I'm gonna look into that.
Yeah, yeah.
We need that.
You have to. But T, if what's my question? Oh, yeah.
If 3 times like this.
If her leadership style was a superhero persona, what will her superhero power be, or her superpower be?
Say that again. I don't think I understand the question.
If her leadership style was a superhero persona, right?
Mm-hmm.
What will her superpower be? And what would be
and what would be
her weakness?
I think her superpower will be diplomacy. That woman, she knew how to navigate different spaces. I think that would be her superpower, because you can have all these extra things, right? But knowing how to move, especially as a woman in politics and relate to different people, she had to have been very versatile to do that. So I think that would be her superpower. Her weakness, she didn't really give much to go off in the book to be able to point that, but I would say, based off what I read in the book, it would be the whole don't burn bridges type philosophy, because I feel like the only language some people understand is their own, right? And sometimes you have to give them tit for tat. With some kind of, within reason, right? But again, I can't really blame her, because if you're in a position of power, you have very little leeway than an ordinary person does. So, it's either that or they could impeach her as a governor. So she didn't want that. And that would be easy to do. They don't already like her to be on there to begin with. So she didn't give them a chance. But I would say that would probably be kryptonite.
I think she said it all. Diplomacy. That was her superpower. For sure. Mm-hmm.
I need to learn that one. Making my own superpower to diplomacy, because I need to take diplomacy medication. Anyways, last question here to Mane. If you had to pick a karaoke song for her to, dance to for, a big win, what would it be? Like, say, for example, she won, President of the United States. What song would you give every DJ?
I'm not even first into listening to songs, so I cannot even, from the top of my head, pick out a song.
There's a song that was going through my head when I was reading.
They see me rolling, the hating.
Yeah.
I kept having that Alicia Keys, what's it called? That girl, this girl is on fire.
Ah,
The whole time I
that's a
kept
good
reading
one.
it. It's like, yeah, that's definitely her song.
Oh, I took it all the way south.
I actually really like the song the See Me Rolling. It kind of matches her because they hated her like bad.
With Camille.
Yeah, and also showing up with like bold color pink, Krisha. That's different.
I'm like, oh,
You know,
that's
as
bright.
in politics, not wearing what the colors blue or red. She went all the way out pink.
And signing her bills in pink
Pink
ink too.
pen. I love that.
That was a wonderful personal touch.
Making a statement.
Yeah. So, anyways, I think we've covered enough on the book. So let's end like this. What's the lasting impression True Gretch left on you? And would you recommend this book to others? I mean, we all agree that we recommend it to people, but what was the last impression that it left on you? Nora.
Oh, this is actually something I was just thinking about, like just in general. It in the book she talks about, it just goes back to like education and finding your way in life and all that type of stuff. She was like, when she was younger, it wasn't like she was a horrible, like just disoriented person, but she talked about how she was getting drunk in high school and just being a little weird. And then she went to college, she couldn't really find her way. And it was until she like entered law school that she found people with vision, when she went to law school, there were other people around her who were like like-minded, and they kind of inspired her to want to pursue things and have big dreams. So I think it all just stems from there. One, education is really important. Two, you have to be around people who just see better for you to be inspired to do better as well. And then this is also very random, but when I think of Michigan, and then I think of Detroit, So from her perspective, it's like she's literally the governor of Michigan, because when I think of Detroit, I think of like gangs and thugs, and it's stereotypical, So her story was like she's the governor of Michigan, whereas Detroit is like another life. So anyways, that's kind of the different things that were just going through my head.
I feel you on that part, man, because I'm sitting right now, you cannot really pay me to go to Detroit. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, there's like beautiful Detroit and there is not so beautiful Detroit. But even still, the beautiful part of Detroit, I don't know. It's one of those things that you just feel like the not so beautiful part bleeds into the beautiful part, and it's just, yeah. But
I know nothing about the state. I just know that when I think of Michigan, I don't even think about. I just know Detroit, and I think of like craziness. So yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people think about Detroit, Flint, the Flint water crisis, things like that. Outside of that, it's very beautiful. Like, it's really, if you about nature, if you hike, things like that, if you enjoy nature a lot, it's a great place for you. And crackers too. Bleep. Anyway, sorry, Nelly.
Deciding what your values are and kind of like living your life by it. Filtering everything through that lens.
Barbara.
I have no idea.
That's fair.
So you read all that book like that, not one thing.
I kind of like spoke about it already. It's just the positivity of the book. I just enjoyed her, the way she looked alive. So I'm like, she's that. So yeah.
Therese?
For me, I would say the kindness. You can never go wrong with kindness. I mean, I've always subscribed that kindness is nice, and all that. And I try to live by that, right? I try to not have rash conversations. I actually do the 24-hour thing. Maybe it's not 24 hours, but I have the conversation off by myself before I come to that person, because I don't want anything that I say to be lost in any emotion, and I get angry and I get carried away. I feel that it makes me less effective, right, in communicating then. the person starts focusing on me being mad, then nothing gets solved, right? But I think having to hear it and see through the book how she actually was using kindness every time, it kind of put things in perspective for me. So I hope it's something that I can apply going forward, but I cannot guarantee it. But it's a good lesson.
Yeah, that was my favorite.
That works. It's something that actually works. So
I actually wrote that down. You will not regret being kind. I think the story she shared was a man with 6 kids running around on the subway, and then a woman was about to say something, and then he just said he just lost his wife and he doesn't know how to raise his kids. And that actually tanked my spirit because I was ready to address some hits. And I was like, you know what? I feel like sometimes because I was like I said, I had a meeting on Sunday that ticked me off, and I feel like my strength is leaving you alone or walking away. So I was like, I walked away. Went to sleep Sunday night, went to sleep Monday night, woke up Tuesday morning, and I was like, okay, I'm ready to address this. And I'm going to start this by saying, I come in peace. And I stated what I wanted to state. And then, this one person was just doing somehow. And I was like, okay, I hear you. And then they kept coming back. Okay, I hear you. Third time, I was like, okay, maybe I need to say something for you to. So I did that. So I felt like I led with kindness and it wasn't being received. So maybe, flipping the switch would be received. And then I ended with kindness. So that's why I felt like I needed to listen to that book twice and I listened to it again because I truly do want to live with kindness. But sometimes people don't want to receive it. So that's my lasting impact. I always have. Actually, I'm not into tattoos, but if I were to get a tattoo, that's what I would engrave. I would get
it.
Like you will never regret being kind.
Yeah, I was thinking about that same thing you mentioned too, about somebody not receiving the kindness, and then what do you do with it once you don't receive it? Do you still be kind and walk away, or do you just?
When you're kind, you don't really have expectations. You don't put expectations of how the other person, is gonna react to.
I mean, you just kind of, it's just on a kind of Jesus Christ. Kindness is just something that you give out, and it says more about you than the other person, right? So
yes,
it's just one of those things that you give out and keep on moving. And that's why the last book we read was boundaries, right? You have to put boundaries in place and do everything do it as long as it is within your limits. That's all you can do. Don't go and be doing the work of the Lord.
Do some people understand limits though?
They don't have to. You have to know yours.
You have to make them understand. Like that's why I felt like for me, reading books like this helped me address certain situations as seeing it from how somebody else handled the situation helps me seeing a different perspective. Because this particular situation I was talking about, when they came at me, my initial reaction was to give them a taste of their own medicine because you feel like, you can get at me. I stated what I stated. If you didn't understand it, ask for clarifications. Don't make assumptions. If she made another assumption with a sarcastic, whatever thing that felt like an insult, I'm like, okay, let me flip the switch. Maybe you hear better. And they did hear. And then when they heard, I said, okay, I will end in kindness again. So yeah, it was a very funny timing, this was happening and I was reading the book. And I said, okay, let me apply it. So I guess that's really a lasting impact because I always remember, I'll be kind first. But if you don't hear it, burn the bridge. And let me put a little smoke, just a little spark of fire on the bridge. And then if you can put it out, we can maintain the bridge. If not, okay, just blow it off.
If you were in the Bible, you would have been Simon Peter.
I'm already in Jonah. I've been running away.
He always ready to pull that sword and swing.
I'm already struggling as Jonah over here. I'm not trying to get another character. It is well. It is well.
Yes, it is. Mine will be collaboration. I really did enjoy how she collaborated with most other folks, and it's something that I strive to keep developing in my own world, keep trying to collaborate. And that should be hard sometimes, I have a different persona for most people. And sometimes it annoys even me, you know what I mean? So when I bring it to some people, they really cannot deal. So I try not to. But in a nutshell, again, I give myself grace too because sometimes I need it to, but yeah, I keep trying collaborating with people. Again, like if it's not being paid, it's kind of tough, man, because like why do I have to put so much energy into this? I'd rather not put energy into it. Why do I really have to? Can't be a one-man island, so I guess I need to try sometimes. But yeah, that's my own, lasting impact. So
your money is at stake.
I'm telling you.
If you're getting paid, money is at stake. If you're not getting paid, what is at stake? Oh, life is funny.
That's the question, But anyways, any lasting, closing remarks, guys, before we get up out of here? Oh, our next read, T, please plug it in.
Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. It's a beautiful cover too. So I'm looking forward to that one.
Anyways, man, thank you guys. Greatly appreciate it. You guys got the next read. We heard is what, 13 hours?
Yes, 13 hours on Audible.
Yeah. So 2 hours a day, you should be done in a week. Easy.
The math.
Easy peasy. But So thank you again for joining us on this one. It was a dope read. Hopefully you pick it up. Share with us your comments, your thoughts, what you think about it. And yeah, again, I'm here with my good ladies. I won't say fellas. My good ladies. Nora, are you ready to say bye? Come down some more, back. Let's close. Yeah, Nora in the building. Nelly, Barbara, T, Mane, and AK. Book Club on Stuck in the Middle and Palm Wine Central podcast. Check us out every month. Hopefully we can do it twice a month. But anyways, we're out.
Twice a month.
Book Club. I was just kidding, It's just you threw it in the air, just like just let it fly. Like
I was like, guess he's ready to burn this bridge because
because that sounds like something smooth. Puff. There's a statement she made in the book that is a code word. It's Shark Week. I was like, what?
Yes,
I love that.
I love that. I really love her humor. I do.
Yeah.
It made her book easy to digest.
Shark Week, motherfuckers.
That. Oh. I love how she spins it around. Her whole concept of running towards a fire and running away from it. She really emulated that. Yeah.
I've never been a home mentor. If I wanted a mentor, I would want her to be my mentor.
It's Shark Week.